As we continue with answering the questions, I will, through you, Chair, the question from MP Marlin. Who has really taken the decision not to allow any public meetings and gatherings and public events? The decision was taken unanimously by the Council of Ministers to prepare guidelines for the organization of public campaigns, particularly public meetings, given the current violence or shooting situation and security situation that is happening in our country. Was the decision taken by the Council of Ministers or by the Prime Minister alone? As I mentioned, the decision was taken unanimously by the Council of Ministers. 3, were the relevant authorities consulted prior making that statement at the time of asking consultations were still forthcoming? Has a state of emergency been declared? If yes, where is the national decree? If not, why is the Army's assistance being requested? There is no state of emergency declared. However, the request was made by the KPSM to increase its capacity, which I agreed to given the high crime situation, the elections, the hurricane season, and the capacity issues, again, on the police force of St. Martin. Why is the assistance of many police officers from Curacao, Aruba, Saba, and Statia being requested? With 20 polling stations that need to be guarded and protected, traffic measures, public order, and safety measures next to the normal police tasks, such as 911 calls and investigations, a lot of manpower is needed on election day. With the current capacity of the police force of St. Martin, will not be able to fulfill all these tasks, hence the request for assistance from the VKS, the Kingdom Police Forces, and the Marines, which is a common practice during elections. The SWAT assistance from Curacao was requested for guarded and protection tasks after the shooting incident in Kupakoy. For how long will this be effective and when? There is assistance from the Kingdom partners on the island already for the joint investigation into the deadly shooting and for guarding and protection tasks. Reinforcements for the elections from surrounding islands are expected to arrive on August 17, 2024, and will remain until August 23, 2024. How much will all of this cost, and where will this budget come from? It's to the tune of 80,000 guilders on election day, from the General Affairs Algemene Zaken election budget. 60,000 with regards to the SWAT assistance from Curacao, which will come from the budget of the police force of St. Martin. Details of the contract signed by the Minister of Justice, Lyndon Lewis, with a person heavily guarded. That answer is, we were talking about a contract signed with regards to the picture. That is a very old picture, it's more than a year. It was also circulating since around this time last year or even before, where that basically is a contract between me and someone that has nothing to do with my position today as Minister of Justice, and I will not disclose any further information pertaining to a contract that I have personally or had personally with someone.
Answers that I received from the minister, there's still some uncertainty because on one end it's being said that the cancellation of public meetings is due to safety. On the other end is saying that no crime that was committed is linked to anything political, yet only political events are being cancelled. So I'm still confused, and as I mentioned last night on the podium, this government has done one great thing, confuse the population. Because on one end, in the same breath, you're saying that it's nothing to do with politics so far. Not only this unfortunate event of July 17, but anything before that and after, but you're not canceling any events and everything else is business as usual. Mr. Chairman, it just doesn't make sense. So maybe the minister has something that he knows that can bring some clarity, not only to me, but to the general population, that can help clear this smoke screen that is above. So I would like some clarity on that point for now.
Mr. Chairman, it's either one or the other. today is the 2nd of August, and what are we to expect given the 3 matters that was mentioned as measures being taken by the Council of Ministers? Namely, 1, cancellation or prohibition of political public meetings, the issue of the sale of alcohol, which according to me is a standard, something that is always decided during campaigns on election day, that there will be no sale. So that to me is something that is commonly done during the campaign. And then thirdly, the matter of election day itself and gatherings of political supporters at the polls. So does the government have any grip on when these guidelines will be finalized? So up until now, tonight, can I hold a public political gathering? If not tonight, could I do one tomorrow? And if it's going to be issued tomorrow, then would a party be able to do one tonight and not tomorrow? So when will this go into effect? And again, does the government have a grip on when will this when will it be published? I think there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding this matter. And while I've heard the minister's response to the motion, yes, of course, it is Parliament's right and sometimes a duty to draft and pass motions. But that was not my question. My question was, what does the minister consider the results if these proposed measures were to be cancelled, were to be annulled? That's my question, because that's the direction the motion is going into. Cancel these measures that the COM has decided on. I want to believe that the COM has decided on these measures because they felt there are reasons to do so. So 2 specific answers I would like to have in that context. One being, okay, then when will it go into effect? And is there no grip on when Legal Affairs responds yes or no?
When I listened to the minister speak, his answers was that it was the entire Council of Ministers that made a decision. But before the decision is finalized, the political parties, factions, was told not to hold any public event. Since that decision was taken, since that press conference was held, where it was stated absolutely no public meetings, no public gatherings of our political parties. We've seen nothing less than 4 public gatherings held without a mass presence of security, without not even an argument being held by the public events for political gathering. So my question then would be, why are we still going down that track of fear-mongering amongst our people in St. Martin? This is not how we keep elections. This is not how
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? Asset V is cardless. Request your My Asset V account today and enter the virtual office of Asset V. Go to assetv.sx and sign up now.
Asset V, yeah. Your social health insurances.
It was a concerted effort to limit the freedom of expression or even campaigning by other parties, because you stated in your previous meeting that you do not, through you, Mr. Chairman, the minister does not make decisions without consulting the relevant stakeholders. But now you're answering saying, yes, we did not consult with the relevant stakeholders, and it's still ongoing. So you did make a decision without finalizing that discussion. And that decision then only affects a few.
I have before me the LB signed by the governor that came in, and it was upon the request from the Prime Minister asking for support from the military during this period. It is in Dutch. There is a point 3, dat het verzoek daarnaast ziet op de verkiezingsdag bewaken en beveiliging van de stemloketten en de handhaving van de openbare orde door middel van zichtbare aanwezigheid op strategische punten op het eiland. Now, being a person that has served in the military for various years, I know the effect that having the military at specific locations, as is said here, especially the voting polls, can be intimidating and will be intimidating on islands like Aruba and Curacao, where the military is visible almost every day to all citizens, and not like St. Martin. I think this is another form by the Prime Minister to keep the numbers low and the turnout. I am extremely worried about this, because this means that our people will pass by, see military, and think that it is more than what it actually is. You will pass and have a feeling. In the document, it says to literally protect, but protect who? If there are no politicians there. I have not heard of any person ever on St. Martin going to vote and has been attacked because of a specific political party that he or she is following. So I want to make it clear to everyone here on St. Martin, please do not let anyone do this. Go out and vote. Do not let anyone go out and vote. So do not let the presence of the military make you feel that there's a threat at the voting polls when you go out and vote.
So my question is, and I guess everyone on the island wants to know, what is the status of the installation of the containerized generators that have arrived on the island. I mean, this Sunday will be 3 weeks, and we were told that within 3 weeks they would be operational. So I'd like to know, is GEB on track to meet that 3 weeks installation? And if not, when it would be installed? And recently we had an issue with generator 18, and our power outages went from 2 hours to 3 hours multiple times a day. Has that issue been resolved?
So what they're waiting for currently is a new control panel and fuel pipes. They will be arriving this week. And then, of course, everything will be ready and on time, and the generators will be operational as scheduled by the beginning of August. And then your second question, Judy, my apologies again. Could you repeat it?
Generator 18.
Yes, exactly. So generator 17, 18 did have some challenges that you would notice that just about 2 weeks ago, the load shedding increased quite a bit, and that's indeed because of failure of 17, 18. I've understood now that 17 is back online. I cannot confirm yet if 18 is back online, but I know that we have managed to get back 17, and of course the staff at GB are continuing the efforts to work on it, particularly given the amount of air conditions everybody is using now. And of course, we do ask for everyone's continued patience. We do understand the frustration, but again, it's important to realize that these generators have passed their critical lifespan. Unfortunately, the sort of initiatives to sort of support that curbing that issue was not done in the past, and now we're kind of feeling the impact of sort of bad decision making when it comes to infrastructure.
Okay, so just to be clear, the containerized generators, I noticed you said in early August, but Sunday really is the third. They will be operational, and we will have no more power outage issues as of when you say the beginning of August. Can you be a little bit more specific? Are we looking at midweek?
Yeah.
End of
so
the
I
week?
think what's important to also realize is that these are one of the things that we've always said in how we bring across information, is that the generators can be purchased on Monday, and it also depends on certain things like weather. So when we have the generators, the containerized generators come in, thankfully the weather permitted, and they came quite very much on time. With the weather anticipated this week, it's scheduled to come, but depending on all the different factors, that will of course impact the reality of how soon they get to St. Martin.
So if these parts do not arrive this week, then we have a problem.
So we may experience more challenges when it comes to putting the generators on time.
And that is dependent on if these parts arrive this week, as you're saying.
For the operationalization of the new generators.
Okay, and can you give us an update on the crankshaft? Because
Yes.
I believe we've also reached that deadline.
Yeah, actually, what's happened about 3 weeks ago, I took a visit as Minister of Romy because, of course, there's a requirement for several different permits to come online from my ministry to support the implementation of the sort of phase 1, phase 2. They were actually busy, what's the term I can use? Grinding down the crankshaft to see if it can be reused. And I know that they were attempting to say that given the fact that the crankshaft's sort of situation, they can manage to use it for a bit more time. I'm not necessarily sure if the crankshaft has been completely put back in place, so I'll have to check out with the Prime Minister, but I do know that they were working on it when I was there about 3 weeks ago.
Sorry, so one final question. If we knew that these generators were coming since over a month ago, why weren't these parts ordered since then? I mean, why are we in a situation where there could be a potential delay because of the arrival of parts?
So just to clarify, the parts were all ordered at the same time. It depends on where your suppliers are. So they're coming from different areas, and that impacts the arrival. Yeah.
you SZV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SZV is cardless. Request your My SZV account today and enter the virtual office of SZV. Go to szv.sx and sign up now.
SZV, yeah, your social health insurances.
Amoy Harriet. Up first, the Magatit Asylum main road is blocked as residents in St. Elizabeth have taken to the streets in protest. They've been without water and light since the passage of Hurricane Beryl last month. The residents complain that this is unacceptable and are calling on the Jamaica Public Service Company and the National Water Commission to address the issues urgently.
I call JPS every single day. All they can do is log a report. We call our representation. They say there's nothing they can do. We are the only community right now, along with Vauxhall, right along the road without any light. We're there from a 68-year-old, and Gilbert is bad on this, and we get back light.
Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake says the police has seen improvements on the nation's roadways due to an increase in targeted operations on crash hotspots.
We launched a comprehensive strategy, and it included the ramping up of public education while simultaneously increasing enforcement. And what we saw from this was an increase in the number of patrols that we executed, the establishment of more checkpoints, and greater focus on high-risk behaviors such as speeding and drunk driving.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the police operation in the Grill last week speaks to improvements in the Jamaica Constabulary Force's investigative capacity. 5 gunmen deemed major players in the robbery of beryllium courier vehicles were killed as they challenged cops who foiled yet another robbery. The minister says the police must be commended.
Based on the quality of the work they had done in preparing for that event, we're able to detain another 6 who are involved, and therefore start the process of disrupting a very organized and desperate gang in the country. And I am sure as they pursue the investigation and prosecution, they are likely to apprehend some more.
The National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, says it has hit a snag in the National Bulk Waste Collection Drive in St. Anne. Cleanup efforts began across the parish on Wednesday, but the activities have been challenged by community members who refuse to surrender derelict vehicles.
We would have tagged over 120 derelict vehicles in St. Anne alone. When we got in between yesterday and this morning, we could only find 30 of those vehicles. What we found happening, persons realized that the government is serious about removing the derelict vehicles to clear the streets, and persons have since moved to take their vehicles off the roads.
The NSWMA is appealing to the public to cooperate with the authorities as they seek to rid communities of solid waste.